Welcome back, everyone. Probably it's the same video, but I changed shirts and I'm excited. We're about to cross 800 ELO. We started at 500 just to show the climbing progress. So we continue with the Caro-Kann. I'm gonna get d5 and even pre-move this. Okay, here we can always take the pawn, and I think that's generally a good idea because now it challenges the knight, right? In some variations, the knight, he wants to sacrifice it here, but in a lot of variations, this sacrifice doesn't work. It's the Englund Gambit. So here, I'm gonna just keep an eye on this, on the pawn. Excuse me. Okay. Now, I can even keep putting pressure. I haven't really checked the engine line in this. But I'm gonna keep the pressure on the pawn just to see what he's going to do, because now he has to play around attacking my pawn, right? At the end of the day, I am an extra pawn. So let's see. Let's put the player's abilities to the test. Wow. Okay, he's giving me a second pawn I can take. He can take here, right? That's an interesting move, I'm not gonna lie. So if I take on d5, I guess his plan is also to attack on this diagonal, right? He's gonna attack on this diagonal, but I don't see any problem with this, to be honest. So I'm gonna take anyway. So once he targets this diagonal, I can develop my knight to c6. I don't see a good continuation for white. So yeah, this is really aggressive and I don't see the point of doing this, to be honest. Okay, yeah, as predicted, he is targeting this diagonal, but again, I don't see a good continuation. Because, I mean, he can take here. I can always just take back with the queen. So I don't understand what he's doing. Also, his knight, it looks like his knight is super weird. So maybe in many positions you want to play e6, right? Keeping an eye on the pawn. But there is no other pawns challenging. For example, c4 will be scary. But here I can just play h6, kicking out the knight. And I believe I can even take the knight, ruin the structure in front of the king. And as you can see, we have the two pawns on the light squares, compensating for my lack of bishop, right? Or my future lack of bishop. Yeah, I felt like he was gonna do that. So I don't think that works. But let's accept his sacrifice. Probably he has some trick, some trap in mind that I don't see it. But he cannot even land on this square, right? I have the knight protecting. I also have the bishop protecting if I can just go back. So this is too much. I feel like this is too much and it doesn't really work. And besides, the Englund Gambit is a different variation where you sacrifice the knight in the first moves. Here, my pieces are already out. So I don't see how he can go anywhere. And yeah, again, this doesn't work. I can even just take this knight. This is too much. I don't see why, where he learned this type of sacrifice, but none of this works. Now there is not even more checks available in the position. He cannot even play bishop c4 like, oh, he's trapping my queen. No, I can just take, right? So this is too much. I don't know. Don't do this, guys. Okay, he's just taking. I'm just gonna take back. And now I can even protect my knight with the pawn. So everything is good in this position. Okay, so I think that's a kind of smart thing to do. But I'm gonna keep an eye. Wait, do I have something like this even? Oh no, he takes. Well, nothing to be afraid of. I'm just gonna keep an eye on the knight with my rook, with the pawn. I have ideas of knight d5 later, kicking out the bishop. Yeah, this is just completely losing for white. I have too much material, right? Too much piece activity. The only piece that hasn't been developed is the bishop. Maybe that's coming next. Okay, he abandoned the game. Let's do a game review. We still have lessons to be learned. So just to see how sacrifices like this often don't work. And I guess you can do it for fun, but if you're doing it for rating, you're playing rated games. Oh, 98% of accuracy. That was pretty impressive, but okay. We have a lot of cooperation from the opponent. Okay, we take the pawn. Now I can develop my bishop or the knight. Both are good moves. Develop the bishop. Okay, this makes sense. And he's giving up the pawn. I don't see why. My knight is protecting the diagonal. Everything is fine here in this position. So now kicking out the knight. He has to go back. Best move I was calculating, right? I was calculating best move. So I get rid of the knight. The sacrifice is too much again. So here I just takes. My knight is being protected. And yeah, he has nothing in the position. And we are 4 points shy from 800. Let's carry on with our games. We're getting blank. So I'm gonna go with the Caro-Kann. Probably I can even make a video where I show different levels. So we are at 800 now. You get c4, d5. If they take, you take. We're happy. If they take more space here in the center, we're also happy. So, okay, we just took back. Next we have very simple plans and ideas. Okay, I'm gonna develop the knight first. Okay, this is an interesting move. I used to play knight c6 before, but as I looked more through the engine, one of the most efficient ways to defend is to kick out the bishop or offer the terror of bishops. Okay, he has to go back, and now I can develop my knight. Also robbing this knight from this square e5. So let's put the pawn on e6, and now develop the bishop to d5. Or even e7 is fine. d6 or e7. Okay, that's kind of a strange move. I'm not familiar with this. Probably there is a way to punish this type of move. I'm gonna play a5. This is almost like a prophylactic move, preventing the knight from coming in. I don't know. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Okay, I think I'm gonna continue with my plan. Bishop d6. And we might expect something like this. Okay. Probably he was putting the knight here. Now I get it. I understand a little bit more. We cannot really take back because that will allow the knight to jump into c4. But instead we can just castle. This looks like a good preparation, but I'm not sure how that pays off on the long term, because now he has split his pawns and probably can be a long-term weakness. It's still interesting to see, right? Okay, so he's going for some kind of attack. Although the knight is protecting, it doesn't work. He will have to bring the queen into the attack, right? For this to work. So a common idea here, I just noticed this blunders the pawn. And even if he takes, no, actually I cannot take, right? I cannot take the pawn. He can give a check here, takes, and then my knight will be hanging. So this pawn is not really hanging. At the end of the day, it will be just a trade of two of his pieces for two of my pieces, right? The two knights will be gone if I go for this line. So I feel like this is a very attractive move. e4. e4 opening up the center. He's maybe going for some kind of tricks. I'm also thinking about this knight b4. So knight b4 has the advantage of hitting the bishop. Now he has to retreat And I feel like I cannot make more progress in the position after this knight to b4. So just to consider it. So I'm gonna push my pawn. If they take, I can take with the bishop. I can also take with the knight, bringing another defender into the position. But the bishop is gonna be way more active. So let me see if that it doesn't have anything. I'm also hitting the rook. Now he has to move the rook. And now to deal with this threat of knight and bishop, the move of knight to b4 works a lot better now. Because if he goes back, I'm gonna take this pawn, this bishop anyway. So let me see. Okay, yeah, I think this is a good way to deal with the bishop. It's just a long diagonal bishop. Also, this pawn is hanging. As you can see now, we're exploring the weaknesses this opponent had. So okay, here this is a no-brainer. Our bishop is hanging. Actually, I can maybe even set up a trap. I can always take and take, right? But I can get my rook into the game. And now this queen is hanging. He has to move the queen. If he doesn't move the queen, I always have a discover attack and a discover check. I can give a check here. And now I win the rook. So now he has to move the queen. He's getting into a lot of trouble, as you can see, because now I can even hit this queen with the bishop. Let me see. Okay, let's go for that. I don't see any real risk to my position. And everything started when he created these weaknesses on this side of the board. Now the rook is weird. His queen is weird. I have the bishop pair. This bishop is loose. The queen is loose. So this should be winning, right? So we still have to... Oh yeah, this completely loses the game because I can give a check here and I win the queen. So let's go for that. Now we win the queen. And next we're gonna win the bishop. Perfect. We still have to be aware of where our pieces are going because the knight is a bit loose. The bishop can... I don't like this bishop so much. Oh, okay. Now we can win the rook. This is just a plain blunder. And now he resigned. Okay, as you can see, we have reached 800 ELO, 805. Let's move on. Wow, this is probably the highest accuracy I have had in the speed run. I had a 94.8 of accuracy, which is really good, but we also have help from the opponent, right? So here, I know that I can always develop my knight, but I have seen this with the engine before in some game reviews that we have to actually defend with the bishop. So this is how you improve. He has to go back, waste a tempo. Now I'm getting my pieces out, developing. And this knight move was kind of strange, right? As I commented on the game. Now, to me, these are a bit of weaknesses. He has left some squares available for me in the position, like b4, for example, for my knight. Okay, this is a mistake. This is considered to be a mistake. It's maybe too early to bring the knight into attack. Okay, now this push pawn, it was good. Like I always say, you have good pieces. Now you can push pawns. Perfect. Now the rest of the game was easy, right? And we're targeting the queen. And here we have tactics. We can give up the bishop. And it's showing us a brilliancy. We can win the queen. And yeah, the game continue. And he resigned. Okay, let's carry on with another game. Another 10-minute game. In the slow run, we hit 800 ELO. And let's play now the Queen's Gambit. Okay, he's gonna go for tricks, the Englund Gambit. So let's accept that gambit because we usually have the advantage in this position. Okay, he wants to win the pawn back. I'm going to defend. I don't remember the theory. I think in theory I have to play e4. But this should be fine. This should be completely fine. He maybe wants to give a check here with the queen. So, for example, I can try to defend the pawn. and he's gonna give a check here with the queen, right? So there is no need to do anything like that, anything out of the extraordinary. So instead, I'm going to put my pawns here on c3. I'm going to let this happen. Now I win this knight, okay. And now we can start developing the rest of my pieces, right? So I'm gonna develop my knight first and get to this square. Okay, we're wasting a little bit of a tempo, but here we hit the queen. Okay. Now I want to get my bishop out. So probably this not might be the best move in the position, but let's just go back. Let's go and rewrite it. Do this square. E3 is next, and then bishop is coming out. Yeah, I was predicting he was going to push these pawns, but it's fine. Now we also hit the queen again with tempo. All right, he's hitting the pawn. I can always offer the threat of queens. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, I'm gonna keep the queens on the board. I'm gonna put the queen here. This pawn is also looks like he's hanging, but this pawn will be hanging, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna keep developing my pieces. Queen c2 is also doing the job of stopping this bishop. Now, once you see this type of structure, you want to challenge it. So we always have ideas. So playing something like h4, for example. So I'm gonna go and play h4 right away. I can take back with the bishop, even when the knight is fine. And yeah, what you want to do is something like this, right? Because now they're overextending their pawns. I'm going to, in many ways, you can retreat here, but here I have a better square for the knight. So I'm gonna bring in the knight. Okay, probably I should have taken back the bishop, because now this is, actually this is a very good strategy. I have it on one of my videos where we can even hide the king behind these two pawns, or these three pawns. So that is what I want to do. Now I'm going to put e3, develop my bishop, and let's see if I have something else. I don't see anything else in the position, so I'm gonna go for that plan. e3, develop the bishop anywhere, doesn't matter, and now castle. Wait, I think that just hangs the bishop, because I can take the bishop, he can take my knight. We still have to be careful with this. It's gonna take my pawn, but this is just an extra piece. I think he blundered this game. Oh, something I didn't see. His pawn is hanging, but okay, I can just defend with the bishop. And I wish I could just force the trade of queens. That's not possible in this position. This pawn is hanging. Wow, okay. That's kind of aggressive. Yeah, he cannot win the game with just one pawn, with one queen, right? So I guess I can always move. Okay, I'm gonna move the king. I'm connecting the rooks. I still have an extra pawn in the position. I'm about to win this. I'm threatening to win this. And yeah, I think I can even take back with the bishop. Okay, let's take back. Actually, a better move is gonna be taking with the queen. I'm also keeping an eye on this pawn. So let's take back with the queen. Okay, this game got a little bit out of my hands, as I didn't see he was gonna take the pawn on e3. But it's still winning, right? We are still up material. We have an extra bishop. Now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 5 pawns. I think that's the only imbalance in the position, but I'm compensating for my extra piece, the bishop. Okay, I see kind of a cheeky move in this position. Maybe queen g7. Now he is forced to move the rook. but I don't see a good continuation, right? Yeah, I cannot win this pawn. Probably his ideas are to play this. So what I'm going to do is to bring the rook into the same file as the king. And now I have some discovered checks, some discovered attacks with my bishop. Maybe here, bishop b5, for example. Okay, he saw that coming. I want to force the threat of pieces. I don't know how to do it exactly right now, so I'm going to bring my other rook into the game. And this should be still winning, right? Okay. It's hitting my queen. I'm going to line up. I feel like this is a good move. I'm threatening to win this. I'm threatening checkmate. All right. Yeah, probably this is still possible. I'm gonna win the pawn. I can even take this pawn with the bishop. Probably I might have missed something. We can check later with the computer. But yeah, this has to be completely winning for white. Okay, that blunders the rook. Right, that just completely blunders the rook. And he doesn't even have any checks available. He has this check, but I just take back. We should see resignation anytime now. Next is coming rook f7. He takes, I just take back with the queen. Okay, he resigned. Let's do a game review. Okay, guys, I made a mistake in the opening. That's why it got a little bit messy. The line I wanted to show you was, okay, here I'm really supposed to play bishop f4, right? And the tricks of the Englund Gambit is, okay, he gives a check here, I have to go back, and now the trick is he's gonna take the pawn, and continuation is showing the computer is, okay, white is doing amazingly well, there's no problem. I just develop my knight, and now the game continues. There's no risk for me. But if I try to trap the queen here with my bishop, that is a mistake, because now he can pin my bishop. I cannot take the queen without losing the king, right? That was the mistake. That's the line I wanted to avoid. But okay, so the game continues. Here we just develop pieces, right? Let's assume you didn't know the story. It's still possible to win. I develop my pieces. Now, this was supposed to be a mistake. What is a... okay, yeah, I should have traded the bishop right away. But okay, that doesn't matter now. Now, this is a blunder. He blundered the bishop. And now the computer is saying, okay, maybe he has a lot of activity with the queen, but this is still completely winning for white, 4 points of advantage. And yeah, there was actually no risk for white.